Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to touch you guys about why the latest manga chapter 19 of 2 Blue Vortex has done a good job of laying the groundwork to highlight how much stronger Mitsuki's gotten during this 3-year time skip between Boruto Naruto Next Generations and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, to a point where I don't think the progress we've seen from Mitsuki is getting enough love from fans, and I do believe there are a few reasons that lend themselves to Mitsuki's big increase being as high as it's been. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video, where we break down some of the likely key reasons behind Mitsuki's power increase, as well as why you should, most importantly, be placing respect on Mitsuki's name with what you're seeing out of the character right now currently. Just to be upfront, it's only been a couple of chapters of action from Mitsuki, but it is a large enough of a sample size to begin having the conversations based on the power increases, if you know what you're looking at, and the improvements that he's made with his Sage mode. It's gotten to a point where I fear he's at the risk of being downplayed and underrated by fans, because due to the way that Boruto tends to write things in a very subtle way and not use as much DC for the battles that we're seeing, it's more AP focused. Basically, the line of thinking of, I don't need to see a character destroy a mountain to know that they can actually destroy it. I think because we've moved more towards that, and because the story isn't spoon feeding it, I think Mitsuki's improvements are being overlooked and downplayed in a tragically criminal way. Mitsuki's progression in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it is an achievement that should be highly applauded by fans, as it aligns with the goal he set out in Boruto Naruto Next Generations, to become strong enough to fight alongside Boruto against Otsutsuki tier threats. His improvement is not just a sign of a power growth, but a testament to his unyielding resolve, his role in the overarching narrative, and his deep-rooted connection to his son, which, due to omnipotence, he now believes that his son is Kawaki. He believes he's the moon to Kawaki's son. Mitsuki's base power in Boruto Part 1 and its limitations are the first place that we have to start here to appreciate where we've gotten at with Mitsuki. I'm not going to do a full breakdown on how strong Mitsuki was in Part 1, because I've done a whole video that was done by one of my favorite editors that clicked the description box in order to see that. But in the story before we got to Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, Mitsuki already did enough to be established as being one of the strongest shinobi of his generation easily. In his base form, he was very easily Jonin level, surpassing elite Jonin from Naruto that we saw like Asuma, but falling short of super elite Jonin like Kakashi that you saw in Shippuden. More importantly, his true strength was in his Sage mode, which Orochimaru claimed contained a power far beyond what even he himself could wield. That's an incredible statement considering how much stronger Boruto era Orochimaru is when compared to his Naruto counterpart. However, Mitsuki's major limitations were that his Sage mode, it was physically taxing to use. When he used it for too long, his body, it would begin to break down, creating a severe drawback that restricted his full potential. By the end of Boruto Naruto Next Generations, he had improved enough somewhat to where he could maintain Sage mode long enough to fight Boruto after Omnipotence was casted, forcing Boruto to flee with Momoshiki's guidance. But this still indicated that he hadn't reached the level he was aspiring to, being able to fight alongside Boruto without his body giving out. Next, we move on to Mitsuki's growth in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. The growth, I think, is being underrated. After 3 years of training, Mitsuki's improvement is evident in several clear ways. He's got that sustained Sage mode. The fact that he remains in Sage mode for an extended period of time without signs of physical deterioration suggests that he's either developed a method to withstand this strain, or he's outright overcome the limitations. My money is on the latter. He was also able to force Boruto to use defensive ninjutsu. In their fight, Mitsuki pushed Boruto hard enough that he had to actively defend himself using ninjutsu, something that Boruto never even considered necessary against Code, despite Code being stronger than Jigen. This alone suggests that Mitsuki has grown to a level where he can somewhat pressure Boruto, who has been fighting Shinji awakened entities that are stronger than Code. What we saw Mitsuki do when he was fighting against Boruto and making Boruto use jutsu, you can argue that the level of effort that Boruto had to use against Mitsuki was a little bit below what he had to do against Bug, and Boruto was trying against Bug. Bug being Mamushi. Then when you start comparing Boruto and Kawaki's strength, Mitsuki's statement about Boruto's power being quote off the charts compared to Kawaki implies that he has personally fought Kawaki enough in training to gauge his power level. If Mitsuki were significantly weaker than Kawaki, this comparison would be meaningless. The fact that he makes this statement suggests that he has sparred or trained with Kawaki frequently enough to recognize the power gap between Boruto and Kawaki, leaving Kawaki behind in order to fight at full power. When Mitsuki tells Boruto he left Kawaki behind for a reason, it suggests that fighting without Kawaki's presence allows him to exert his full strength. This implies that Mitsuki could be close to Kawaki in power or even superior to him in some ways, given that Amado is now confirmed to have restricted Kawaki's full Ishiki tier attack power. This opens the possibility that Mitsuki's Sage Mode may have surpassed the version of Kawaki that we see, who is stronger than Jigen but weaker than Ishiki. Mitsuki's Sage Mode might have either caught him or got to a level just above him in some key areas. That's part of why Kawaki getting his limiters removed is so huge, because that makes Kawaki get Ishiki's full attack power on top of everything else Amado's doing. His performance against Ryu, a stronger Shinju than Code. During that battle against Ryu, we saw some impressive stuff. Mitsuki repeatedly landed attacks that are strong enough that Ryu had to break apart his own body using the Iron Sand to avoid the damage. This means Ryu acknowledged Mitsuki's strikes as being potential significant threats, further reinforcing how much stronger Mitsuki and by extension Sarada have become, because otherwise he wouldn't have used that jutsu to break apart his body, he just would have tanked the attacks. The fact that he didn't try to tank the attacks means that they're pushing out enough power that Ryu was getting nervous. Orochimaru's role in Mitsuki's growth is another thing we have to look at, and I do think there's a role here. Orochimaru's potential, and we're going to put very strong emphasis on the word potential. His potential involvement in Mitsuki's power-up, it is a crucial factor. Given the dire circumstances we had at the end of Boruto Part 1, Naruto's presumed death, Boruto being framed, and Code's rise, it makes sense that Shikamaru would permit any means necessary to strengthen the village's shinobi. That was his duty as Hokage. Orochimaru, never one to hesitate using scientific enhancements, likely played a major role in optimizing Mitsuki's body to withstand prolonged Sage Mode. Possible ways that Mitsuki could have helped increase his power by seeking out Orochimaru might have included genetic modifications. Since Mitsuki is a clone of Orochimaru, Orochimaru wouldn't know what to do there. Orochimaru could have further enhanced Mitsuki's body to better handle Sage Mode, possibly doing some alterations to his cellular structure to endure the immense chakra expenditure. There's also the possibility of forbidden jutsu and performance enhancements. Orochimaru has a history of using chakra amplification drugs and other forbidden jutsu enhancements which could have been applied to Mitsuki's body. You also have Sage Mode refinement. Orochimaru or Kabuto may have been able to help Mitsuki refine his Sage Mode to be more efficient, allowing for him greater access to power while reducing the bodily strain. And we cannot downplay that, because even though Orochimaru didn't have a Sharingan, Orochimaru and Kabuto working alongside Sasuke helped Sasuke level up quite a bit in the 2.5-year time skip between Naruto Part 1 and Part 2. If Mitsuki's improved stamina and durability in Sage Mode were a result of Orochimaru's experimentation, it would align with his character as Orochimaru being the most successful and beloved mad scientist that we have. And because Mitsuki is a clone of Orochimaru, he's his clone son, I don't put it past Orochimaru to have done that. Now, the big thing we have to look at here is Mitsuki's growth. This is why you should appreciate what you're seeing. This does not need to be viewed as an ass pull. There's a narrative thematic payoff to it. It aligns with Mitsuki's entire Sun and Moon character ideology. And That's something that I don't see people bringing up, so I'm going to toot my own horn and I'm going to bring it up right now. People focus on Boruto saying that I'll be your son from now on, and you know that Kawaki's not your son, and they focus on that part, but nobody's focused on how Mitsuki's power increase is a direct reflection of that sun and moon ideology. So clip this part out. Mitsuki has always viewed Boruto as being his son, the light that guides him. After all, a moon can't generate its own light. However, due to omnipotence altering his memories, he now believes that Kawaki is his son. Despite this change, Mitsuki's core philosophies still remain unchanged. He grows stronger so that he can protect his son. This mirrors the Shinto concept of Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, the sun and the moon. Tsukuyomi, the moon god, is often seen as more reserved, yet as a powerful figure, living in contrast to the ever radiant and assertive Amaterasu, the sun goddess. Similarly, Mitsuki, who is the sun, has spent 3 years strengthening himself so he can properly support and protect Kawaki, who would be the sun. Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu's separation is another thing you have to look at. So we just looked at how this applied with Kawaki, the false sun. Now we have to look at how it applies to Boruto, the true sun. So in the Shinto mythology, Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu, they have become estranged, much like how Mitsuki and Boruto have been separated due to omnipotence. Despite this, Mitsuki still follows the path of the moon, determined to protect his son no matter who it may be. He just does not know, at least initially, that Boruto is the sun to his moon. The moon also has a hidden strength. Just as the moon controls the tides and has immense unseen influence, Mitsuki's strength is often underestimated by fans. His ability to pressure Boruto in battle, a Shinju level threat, reinforces he is no longer just a supporting figure. He is a force of his own right. Yes, Boruto ended that fight against Mitsuki pretty quickly, but he still exerted quite a bit of effort when you look at what he had to do. He had to use several lightning release jutsu in order to get the upper hand on Mitsuki to make him surrender. Even with that being a reserved Boruto, that is still a very impressive power feat. Now, the other thing on this, in terms of why Mitsuki's growth should be celebrated, it allows him to achieve his original goal. Mitsuki aspired to become strong enough to stand beside Boruto. Despite his altered memories, he has achieved that goal in raw power, proving himself right now currently against a foe stronger than Code. And again, you can use the Boruto fight, even with that being a restrained Boruto. Boruto was restrained against Code before he used the Uchiha. And even before that, that was enough to say Boruto is stronger than Code even before he hit him with Uchiha. You also have refinement and not just power-ups that you have to look at. Unlike some characters who grow stronger through external power-ups like say the Karma Seal, Mitsuki's growth appears to be a result of years of refinement, training, and also potential genetic enhancement, making it a testament to his dedication, to his resolve, holding his own against top tier threats. That's another thing you have to look at. Being able to push Boruto into a defensive maneuver and being able to pressure Ryu, a Shinju stronger than Code. That proves that Mitsuki is now within the realm of high tier fighters in the current shinobi world. That might piss some people off that want to place Mitsuki at being at a pain arc level of power, but it is important to note, yes, Naruto can be a much better written story than Boruto, but based on where the power levels are right now, we have progressed past Naruto characters. That is just a fact of life. And I've used this example before. Cell is one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters, but I'm not going to be dumb enough to say that if you drop Cell in the Buu saga, he's beating any version of Majin Buu. He's not. Boruto follows a very similar power progression that Dragon Ball did. Ikimoto said before, he is heavily influenced by Dragon Ball and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You also have the symbolizing and the potential of science and sage mode to look at here. So Mitsuki is a fusion of Orochimaru's genetic enhancements and achievements due to Mitsuki being a clone of Orochimaru, and also a symbolism of pure natural energy control because he has that sage mode. His progress shows that Sage Mode continues to remain one of the most powerful abilities in the Naruto universe. rivaling even karma enhanced beings. And that is something for the I miss when Naruto was about ninjas crowd. This is something that you should be celebrating, because Sage Mode is a power that got introduced to us, I believe, in Naruto Volume 40 or Volume 41 when Jiraiya was fighting his pain. A power like that is still relevant today. It just happens to be used by a child who would whoop Jiraiya's ass, but the power that Jiraiya used, Sage Mode, is still something relative today. So in conclusion, I'll say this: Mitsuki's improvement is a moment worth celebrating, as it represents the culmination of his original aspirations while intertwining with Boruto 2 Blue Vortex's themes of fate, memory manipulation, and identity. Whether his true self reawakens and he reclaims Boruto as his son, that remains to be seen, but regardless, Mitsuki has proven that he is no longer just a powerful ally. He is a contender amongst the strongest of his generation, and I do believe, for these reasons that we have outlined here on the channel, Mitsuki deserves a lot more respect than he's getting. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and checking out more videos from Naruto Explained by clicking over here on the left, or click over here on the right to check out this video from my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content in the form of video essays, chapter reviews, lore videos, explained videos, and so much more.